you today, John?
I'm very good, sir.
You're going to be John today.
Yes, I will be John.
Okay.
Yes.
How are you feeling?
Well, I'm not feeling very good, actually. I'm very sore in the back and neck and leg region.
Oh.
But I don't remember what my chief complaint was.
Yes. Well, I took a review of the findings, and what I found is that you have what we call cervicogenic headache.
Oh my goodness, what is
Yes.
that?
It's nothing to be too concerned about, but you said you're getting headaches.
Yes.
And there's a region of the spine that's between your skull, base of your skull.
Right here?
Yes, and down about 2 more vertebrae. Those bumps on the back you might sometimes feel. That's a couple vertebrae.
Oh my goodness.
You'll find that it all stems from there, and there's a referral of this pain that's coming across the ears, over the ears, and the side of the head there. And that's what's causing your headache.
So it's not because of my glasses that I wear?
No, it's not typically from that. Although, you know, the glasses, if they're extremely tight, it might complicate things a little bit.
Oh, excuse me, sir.
Oh, that's okay.
I'm sorry.
That's quite okay. Where was I?
I don't remember. You were saying something that my glasses could complicate things, but the pain was from my neck that's giving me this terrible headache.
Yes. And the good news is that actually that's something that we can treat here in the chiropractic office.
Okay.
In fact, we have great success with this kind of condition.
Fantastic then.
And part of the reason you're getting that referral, though, I'm not sure, it may seem confusing. It's coming from the spine.
It is very confusing, yes.
You're getting it in the head?
Yes.
Okay, and it has to do with the afferent nerves. There's nerves that
excuse me, did you say the effeminate nerves?
No, it's nerves that actually, kind of like wires that come from...
You're going to put wires in my head?
No, it's actually...
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I was just thinking that it's not all that complicated really, but there's basically inside the body we have nerves, right?
Right.
And nerves transmit electrical stimulus that actually allows the body to know, to act the muscles.
So like my brain tells my finger to do this?
That's right, yes.
Okay.
And it's like a wire. You can think of it as a wire maybe, although it's not a wire. But if you were to think of that analogy, it would be kind of like a wire going up into the spinal cord, and then it has a pathway up into the brain and then back and whatnot.
Like a copper wire?
Yes, you could think of it like that. Point is that we've got a convergence of...
Which means coming together, right?
Together, yes, at the spine, in that region of some nerves, or we could say wired, like objects, that come down, and then they end up in that same spinal region as the afferent nerves to the sensation of that area as well. There's so the afferents. I'm saying to get complicated. There's actually...
It is very complicated, yes.
The bone is called the occiput, the skull here,
yes.
And that actually is the afferent nerves that usually respond to sensation of the occiput as well as the trigeminal nerves.
That's the one in my face,
which
right?
is for the face. Yes. Those converge into the same area as the spinal nerves.
So what you're saying is that if I have something wrong here in my neck, not only will my neck hurt, but other places might hurt as well?
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I thought you were saying.
Yes. And
excuse me a moment. Thank you.
That's okay. Anyway, so there's a number of nerves, a couple of them, in between the vertebrae. They all converge, and because so the issue is in the spine, in the neck,
right?
And it has to do with a number of things potentially. With you, for example, we're finding myospasm, which is a spasm of a muscle.
Yes, I have that. I can feel that.
Right, and on your left side. That's
Yes.
good. We have.
And also here sometimes.
Oh, is that right?
Sometimes.
Okay. Well, what we're finding is there's these muscles called the suboccipitals, but they're just these little baby small muscles that are in this region here, and as well as some adhesions sometimes occur, little kind of sticky spots between one of those muscles.
Like if I had honey on my fingers and I couldn't separate my fingers?
Yes,
Okay.
kind of like that, exactly.
Yes.
And there's some what we call, well, anyway, we probably don't need to get into the names, but
Yes,
the
thank you.
point is that there's a number of ways that we can treat this, and
Treat the stickiness and,
Yes.
and the muscles?
yes,
Okay.
and by treating that, we would then be treating the headache as well. So,
Interesting.
yes, because of that convergence of the wiring
Right.
that comes together. Really, the problem is in the spine, but it's the convergence of the wiring that's making you have these feelings on the side of your head as well.
So it's not cancer?
No, it's not cancer. It's nothing to be concerned about particularly. I realize the headaches may be excruciating at times, and you may have some less range of movement.
Right.
Particularly to one side, and that has to do with the muscle contraction, those little muscles. And so what we need to do is work out those muscles, and we've had great success with this with chiropractic manipulation. So it generally it takes about 6 weeks, and normally you're back on the road. There's a tendency for reoccurrence now and then,
Yes.
and that has to do with sudden movement typically, or I think initially you'd said you had been doing a lot of painting
Yes,
on the
I
ceiling,
had.
and that'll do it a lot.
Because I lean my head back like this
Right.
when I look, and paint drips in my eyes.
Right, yes, and so if you can, you said the house was finished, so
Yes.
won't be painting for some time.
No.
So what I'm proposing is that we have, of course, we would treat you with these two different forms of treatment, soft tissue manipulation of the muscle as well as chiropractic manipulation.
Now chiropractic, that's where you break the bones and then put them back in place?
No, that's that would be more
Like a bone setter?
We actually are more of a bone setter, but breaking isn't something that we do. Sometimes they'll stick again, kind of like that honey.
Like with the honey on my fingers?
Right, kind of like the honey. And we just kind of try and remove that honey.
So
We try
like
and
you
get
would
it to
lick
go
the
back
honey
nice
off of
and
my
smoothly.
fingers.
That could be a way of putting it, yes.
I wish I had some honey.
Well,
And you could show me.
yeah, I don't currently have honey, but I could show you here.
Is that a real person's spine?
This is not.
Oh.
It's really hard to get real people's spine these days because they. Anyway.
If you needed a model, I could be a model to earn some extra money.
Well, we could get into that later.
Yes,
There's probably. Anyway, the point is that we have.
So are these the wires that you're talking about?
These are not the wires. These are arteries that actually come down the cervical region.
Oh.
But the wires are these little guys here. Okay.
They
So
don't look like wires.
These are nerves. The reason I think of them as wires is because they are actually transmitting electrical current, just like
a regular wire.
a wire. So
Okay.
that's why I call them. They may not
Okay.
appear like a wire, but they function kind of like a wire. Anyway, what we've got, typically speaking, is we've got 4 muscles. One that comes down here, one down here, over here, and then over here. Mostly, this is the issue, the muscle that's right here
Oh, I see.
on you. And so we would be working that muscle. It's in a more of a contracted state, and so it's shortened, and it's creating kind of a, you've got a slight restriction. Your range of movement and flexion is off
Yes,
a little bit
it
in
is.
flexion, as well as right rotation, because it's mostly on the left side, and there's a few muscles here, and they're shortened, and it's creating this movement. So when you turn this way, it won't
It
go as
doesn't
far.
go.
Right.
So where is the honey?
Well, the honey, actually, the idea is in between these guys here. On occasion, now with your situation, it's not really an issue between the joints as much in terms of what we call a restriction or,
Yes.
or a stuck joint. It's more,
I prefer the term restriction.
it's more the idea that there's some connective tissue called dura that's actually spinal dura, which is covering the spine.
Could you dummy it down a shade for me?
Yes, I could.
Thank you.
Point is that can also cause adhesions with this muscle. So then it makes it harder for things to move up, and we want to free things up a little bit. So there's a couple things going on.
I see.
Okay, that are potentially going on anyway, and certainly we know for certain your muscle's tight.
Yes.
And so we plan on doing some soft tissue therapy. That would be one way of going about it. And then of course the spinal manipulation would allow it to have more motion.
Yes.
And it would also allow more nutrients, blood flow to the area, to the muscles,
I see what you said.
as well as
I'm sorry. Yes.
So anyway, that's what we propose to do. But I do have what we would ask. We would expect probably this to be resolved in with 6 weeks of treatment. We're thinking,
Oh my goodness.
well, we're thinking about one time a week would probably be sufficient.
But
One
you
or two
charge
times a week.
$30 a visit. If I have to come for 6 weeks, that's
Right.
a lot of money.
Yes, it is. We could probably work things out. You know, maybe.
So like instead of, maybe I paint your office instead of paying
Well,
for your treatments?
Well, yeah, it could be a lot of money, but.
And I don't have insurance.
You don't have insurance.
No.
Okay. We could certainly try and
I mean,
work with
that seems very expensive to me.
Well, it could become pretty expensive with time, I'm sure, without the insurance.
Right.
And maybe what we can do is try and work it out.
Like a payment schedule?
Yes, we could certainly
Okay.
do that. And the point is here is that I would be kind of there's some complicating factors, and as we mentioned, and what I'd be asking, you might want to think about possibly a cervical pillow. That's something that seems to help.
Now, I thought that only women had cervixes.
That's true.
So
women
why do I need
have-
a pillow for my cervix?
But I'm not discussing the cervix of the cervical region is this region here.
Oh my
So
goodness, I thought it was
get
in my genitals.
confused sometimes.
Yes.
And so a cervical pillow is a pillow that's really a neck pillow. It's a rolled pillow.
I have one that I wear on airplanes that goes around my neck like a donut.
Right. That's actually a little different.
Oh.
That would be a collar.
Yes.
What we call a collar. But in any event, this would be for the use of sleeping on the bed at night.
Yes.
And we might discuss maybe another home care would be trying a couple stretches to be able to get a little bit more
Mobility?
in that.
Okay.
Yes. And then also the other would be maybe a little heat if you have a heating pad.
I don't,
Okay.
but I'm sure I can find something that would work.
There's some alternatives to that.
I have a pet ferret I can probably put on my neck. It's very warm.
Okay. Well, we can talk about heat options too. I have some others as well that we could go with. But at this point, we would. The good main point is that this is something that's actually got great, what we call prognosis, very good prognosis.
That's a very big word.
It's a big word that means that this is something we can treat, and
Oh,
we can
good.
treat in a fairly short amount of time, relatively to other conditions.
Now, you may have noticed that I've lost some bowel function. I guess I have a leaky bowel trigger, I think was what the book said. Excuse me. Would that be caused by this?
That would likely not be caused from this. That would be a separate condition.
Okay.
Certainly we'd like to address.
Yes.
And we can certainly do that. There's
Now-
some alternatives to that too.
Well, I'm
We
very...
might start with anti-flatulence, and then we can also do an exam and take a
Well,
look.
see, because I went to the store and they had this thing called Beano, and they had another thing called Bean Yes. I didn't know
Right.
which one to buy, so I bought the Bean Yes.
Okay, well,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Bean Yes. That's
Yes.
a new one.
Apparently
I heard
it
of the Beano.
causes flatulence, apparently, but I
Okay.
thought I didn't know.
Well, Beano is an enzyme that actually, I believe there's a couple items on the market that might benefit, you may benefit from.
Yes.
Do you feel bloating ever?
Do I ever?
Okay.
Yes.
Do you drink, a lot of times there will be a bloating in this region as well, and that due
Yes.
to lactose intolerance too, so I don't know if you drink a lot of milk products either, but
I really don't, but I do eat a lot of I guess, gassy food, like
Okay.
a lot of broccoli.
you get, okay, well, in this, at this point,
Well, now I have a question for you before we
You
go
do?
any further. Because you're saying that my problem is here in my neck, yes?
Mhm.
Well, I went to a real doctor,
yes.
and the real doctor said that my problem was here in my elbow.
Right.
So this doesn't work. It's not staying up there.
Okay.
So here in my elbow, he said, was where the real problem was located.
Okay. Well, the real problem. Could you explain what you meant by that? What were the did you feel pain in that area then, or
Well, no, I
elsewhere?
didn't. But they said that you guys were all a bunch of quacks and I shouldn't listen to you.
Okay.
But they took this x-ray and they said, like, right here, this is some sort of alien implant that when I was abducted by the UFO, they put that in there.
Right.
And it's a transmitter.
I
It's
have
sending
heard of
my
that
DNA to the spaceship. And this is the problem
Right.
in my elbow.
I've heard of that before. In fact, they find them sometimes in the back. Sometimes I think too.
Could I have one back here in my head?
So
then?
we could do an analysis and see if we can find something like that.
Well, I think I have one in my finger. See, will you
Yeah.
palpate my finger?
Yeah.
Oh, you shouldn't have done that.
No, I shouldn't.
I'm
have.
sorry.
It's a reflexive response, so don't be embarrassed.
I'm
Anyway,
not. No.
What I would like to do is I wanted to address your headache. Headache is typically from this region due to the wiring. That though could cause.
I don't understand what you're saying.
There can be some complicating factors as well that can stem from lower down, because this is a closed chain and everything is sitting on top of everything else. If you have a problem down here, okay, sometimes you may alter your walk or
I already have a slightly funny walk.
right, and then therefore utilizing different muscles, and you're creating an unbalanced
Yes.
situation where maybe then you start to alter your walk, you start to hip hike.
So hip hike is like
then-
lifting the hip
Then
like
you
this?
curve the spine a little.
Oh,
Yes,
I
it
shouldn't
is.
do
Yes,
that.
you
I'm
curve the
sorry.
spine. Next thing you know, this is going to compensate over this area to take this big bowling ball head that
And
most
that could
people
cause
have.
the problem.
And it'd be like that. Typically, that could cause the problem. But in your situation,
You think it's just right there to begin
yes,
with?
yes, we do. Because we have considered this, and you said that the doctor. Who is the doctor that you saw?
I'm not really sure because he was in a big van that didn't have any windows and he was
Okay.
offering free examinations, and after
Right.
he did my prostate, he also just gave me this film and he said he took it of my elbow. But I don't remember having an x-ray
Did
taken.
he use a machine?
No, he used a cloth with some chloroform on it. He put it over my face.
Oh, okay.
And then when I woke up with my pants around my ankles, this film was lying next to me, and I figured he must have taken it at my elbow.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Normally, there's a name on those too. And
Yes,
that's-
Schick, right here.
Oh.
I think it was Dr. Schick.
Okay, okay. Well, that would
Like the razor.
that would explain why that's on there.
I think it's Richard is his first name.
Richard. Okay. Anyway, what I was curious is, I'd like to move on to the proceed. Well,
Yeah. Well, what sort of? Because you've told me that you want to do the soft tissue work and some bone cracking, and you've mentioned that there are some sorts of risks involved. But what sort of risk might I have? Like I'm seeing a blood vessel here. Are you going to open up that blood vessel so I bleed everywhere inside my brain?
Well, no, that vessel actually is not really affected. It's with what we'll be doing. It's typically can be stretched, and it's a very small, negligible. In the position that we will have you in, it shouldn't be putting any stress on that.
That's good to know.
Okay, and that's where you might be alarmed because of that. But so we are concerned. We as chiropractors observe this and identify this, so we avoid putting it in positions where that could be another condition, or you could be life-threatened.
So you're not going to twist on my neck and have me wake up in a pile of my own blood and piss?
Right. No, the risks are extremely small here. There's virtually no risk at all. You may the risk that we would find possibly is there's a risk of stretching ligaments sometimes.
Well, stretching's good.
In this case, it can be. We can actually break up the adhesions.
Yes.
But in some situations, if someone's way too aggressive, and
Are you aggressive?
and unexperienced, unlike myself,
Yes, thank you.
then you could have some risks of tearing ligaments or tendons or
So I
some of
should
the
pay
muscles,
to have
but
you do this rather than having my friend Joey do it.
I would have a professional do this,
Okay.
because some people underestimate the.
He doesn't know his own strength sometimes.
That's right.
Like, he burnt me last week. It wasn't that bad, just around the head, face, neck, breast, chest, and legs area. But it really wasn't that bad. But sometimes he doesn't know what he's doing, so I should let you do this.